What's up everyone? My name is Edward Lee. I'm a filmmaker and photographer, and in this video, I want to share with you how I keep my digital space clean and minimal. The reason why I want to make this video is because I recently did one on how to keep your physical space clean and minimal, and a lot of you guys seem to really like that one. So this one is going to be kind of similar style, but mainly talking about my digital life and how I keep that clutter-free and organized. And with how much of our life is on our phone and our computers now, I feel like you guys will find this video helpful, so let's get right into it. So the first category of organizing your digital life I want to talk about is files and file management. If this is you, what I'm about to say, I'm sorry if you feel personally attacked, but you know who you are if you're that type of person that doesn't have a folder for anything and your whole desktop is just full of icons and files and it's just scattered all across the desktop background. You know who you are. Now I know how quick and easy it is to save files to your desktop though. Sometimes you don't have a folder for a file, or sometimes you just, don't have a category for it, so you want to save it quickly to your desktop. And I get that, I do that too. I need to have like a miscellaneous folder. So what I did was I created a desktop folder on my desktop. It's literally a folder called desktop. And I would essentially treat it like the same way I would treat a normal kind of desktop category, except when I click on it, that's where all my files are and not just scattered across the home page or the page as soon as you open up your computer. Now the next step that I took is to get external hard drives. But the reason why this is important is because I have a drive for 2020 and I have a drive for 2021. I usually have a new kind of RAID storage for every single year that passes. I try not to keep too many of my files on one single, or too many years of files on one single hard drive, because if that one drive fails, even if it's redundant, you're kind of screwed because you have tons of years of work or files all on one drive, and it's just not a risk I'm willing to take. Now within these hard drives, I've structured the files in a way that's really easy for me to kind of find files and also organize files whenever I get new ones. So when I open the drive, you'll see that I have a working folder, a business folder, and a personal folder. Literally guys, if you're using a computer, every file that you come across should be able to fit in one of these categories. At least it has for me. I have my working drive, which is the current projects I'm working on, whether that's a YouTube video or a client video. And then I have my business folder, which is things like business licenses, accounting, all the projects that I finished that are kind of categorized and archived. And my personal folder consists of everything in my personal life. So documents, taxes, anything that's maybe kind of like a project, but not necessarily for work. Maybe it's a travel, maybe it's a trip to New York. Everything lives in that personal folder. Now going back to the working folder, that is also kind of categorized into finished projects, unfinished projects, tools, so tools that I use for my video edits or photo edits, tools just for everything that I use for work lives in this working folder. But the takeaway for this point is that no matter what file that you download, you save, you import, or you export, whatever the case may be, if it's a digital file, find a home for it. Find a place for it, find a folder for it. That way it's easily found and also it's tucked away and you don't have to worry about it, and it doesn't result in a bunch of files all over your desktop. Now the next part of my digital life that I need to keep clean and organized is calendars and scheduling. As you guys know, things get busy, things get lost. Your friend says, let's grab dinner, then you forget about it, or you have a work meeting and you forget about it. Calendars and schedules are really important. Now, in the past, I used to use a physical calendar because I like the idea of writing down my schedule and having a calendar, pull it out of my backpack, pull it out of my notebook. But as I got busier and as I didn't have the mental space to remember to write things down all the time. Also, if I'm just, out and I didn't bring my planner with me, I didn't like having to go back and get it or take it out. So I opted to go towards a digital calendar. And for me, it's simple because it links up to all my work emails, is Google Calendars. Now to dive a little bit deeper into how I use Google Calendar It's essentially how any one of you guys would probably use it if you have the app already or you use Google Calendar. But essentially, I color coordinate everything. I link up my work email and my personal email. I also use notes, and I use it to lock in locations and details. Google Calendar is a really great way to kind of organize your life in terms of what you have to do, who you're meeting, and where you're going. Now, if you take a bird's eye view of my Google Calendar, everything in orange or colored orange is my work-related things. Everything that's blue is personal life things. Everything that's green is like a call or a client meeting. I basically color coordinate everything because I like to look at the month view and not day views. For me, I just like to see where I'm headed in a week or in a given month and not get so caught up in just one day, because then the next day will come. If I wasn't prepared for something, I feel overwhelmed. So I like usually looking at the month view on my calendars because I have a good idea of what my life looks like that month. Am I working a lot? Am I not working enough? You know, do I have a lot of calls? How am I filling my time? How am I spending my time? It's a good reflection, actually, looking at kind of the month view. Now, the next category of your digital life that can get really messy fairly quickly is your websites and your logins. And that leads me into the sponsor of this video. They fit right in and they're super supportive of the channel. It's a platform called Idenati. Essentially what Idenati is, it's kind of like a website and account management. It's kind of like a one-stop shop for all your websites and accounts online. For me, I'm a big fan of dashboards and tiles. Anything where design and productivity meet each other in the middle is what I like. Idenati is really great because for me personally, like Safari, I use Mac, so Safari's bookmark kind of layout, I know you can make categories and you can save websites, but one, it's not that safe, and two, I just didn't really like how it looked personally. And I don't use Google Chrome all the time. I use it sometimes, but I'm just not a fan of Google Chrome's kind of like their tab or folder categories at the very top. It's really small, hard to see sometimes. Half the time I'll throw things in there and forget what I even threw into that folder. And so I needed something a little bit more user-friendly, and Idenati was perfect for that. Idenati, essentially you make tiles for websites, and within that tile you can save passwords, you can save direct click to the link that you're trying to access. Now, a big part of Idenati and why it's great as well is the ability to make categories. So not only can you categorize your tiles into like money or school or work or inspiration, there's a search bar at the top to quickly access that folder. Like if you have a money or bills folder, all your websites and logins when you're doing your accounting at the end of the month, or just money related things like bank accounts, can all live in there. Another great feature of Idenati is that there's a section on the right side where you can save notes. So oftentimes when I'm accessing websites, I have these like quick ideas like, oh, buy this, or a to-do list like go here or visit the website or remember this part of the website. Having a quick notes tab on Idenati is clutch, just for those quick ideas or quick notes. Maybe it's a to-do list, or maybe it's something you have to buy, something you need to do, something you need to return or print. Having a quick notes section is also pretty crucial and has been really helpful. So instead of having a ton of tabs open all the time on my browser, I usually just have Idenati open, and that has all my websites, all my tabs, all my information. And right from the tiles, I can access my websites. It's really seamless. It's fit into my digital life quite nicely. Now, one big question that you might be having right now that I for sure had when I first found this application was, how safe is it though, actually? So this website, you know, you can set how long after you leave the website it auto locks itself to require a password again. So it could be like a day, it could be 7 days. Now, to take it even further, you can also add a secret phrase that is required when you log in. And they also have two-factor authentication, where essentially when you log in, it requires two different types of authentication, like a mobile device, like a text, and a login, just to make it super safe and that no one else can access your Idenati account, even though it is a website. Now, the next part of our digital life that I want to talk about is just task managers and notes. I feel like productivity apps have gotten a lot more attention over the last couple months, couple years, and people are always on the hunt for that new productivity app, right? Whatever can streamline your workflow, whatever makes your life easier. It's pretty popular now. For me personally, this is just preference. I use Notion. I'm sure you've heard about it if you're kind of in this productivity space, but Notion is super powerful tool for me, and pretty much my life, a lot of my life is within Notion. Now, once I fire up the desktop app for Notion, I essentially have it broken down into 4 categories, which is dashboard, my business life, my personal life, and also notes. Pretty much my dashboard consists of what it is. It's just kind of like a quick access to a lot of different parts of the Notion that I've created. And also I mainly use the dashboard to look at a bird's eye view of what I'm doing this week. This is, I guess, where my to-do list kind of lives and the tasks that I'm working on or I need to accomplish. I also use Notion to keep track of my accounting. So things like my credits, debits, credit card bills, how much balances I have on things, my monthly expenses, my income, all this kind of stuff I kind of keep track within Notion. It's really nice because within Notion you can set up tables that auto calculate, kind of like Excel, you know, it kind of auto calculates the total sum of numbers you put. You can add literally anything in Notion, like links, checkboxes, bullet lists, notes. The tool is honestly pretty amazing. It's essentially feels like you're coding, but you're not coding because you just type a bunch of things on the keys. But it's really powerful, and I've used it in a wide range of ways. I also use it to keep track of my projects. So for example, like this YouTube video, I have it on a kind of timeline where it's like an idea, when is it being kind of scripted, when is it in production, when am I editing it, and then when is it complete. I'll have this for my YouTube channel, for my client work, for my podcast. I kind of use it as like a project management tool to see a bird's eye view of, you know, what part or what stage a project is, you know, in particularly. And of course, I'll use it for note taking. Pretty much like any notes app, it just categorizes, you make titles, you can add all the same functions and features within Notion within your note, and it's just powerful to have all my notes in one place. So yeah, that's kind of how I organize my digital life and how I keep it clutter free. Now, before you click off on this video, I want to share kind of more of a mindset tip on why I decided to make this video and why I think it's actually really important for a lot of people to watch. And it's because as we become more and more dependent on apps and logins, and as just technology just advances, our digital life is like our physical space. It can get cluttered really, really fast. Just like how this room, if it was a mess and there was things everywhere, it can affect your happiness, it can affect your stress levels, your productivity. It's the same way with our digital life now, especially with literally how much time we spend on these devices. Just like our physical spaces, if we don't keep it in check or upkeep it regularly, it can pile up very quickly, and then it becomes a much more overwhelming task than it might have been if you just chip away at it and organize your life piece by piece digitally. And for me, why keeping my digital life clean is so important is because if I spend less time thinking about, you know, what was that one meeting I scheduled, where's that one file that I downloaded, if I spend less time on those things, I can spend more time on the things that matter, more important things in my life, like my goals, family, you know, things I need to get done that actually move the needle forward and not backwards. But that wraps up today's video. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and watching it. If you stayed to the very end, take what you will from this video. You don't have to apply all the tips and tricks that I gave you. I'm not the expert at everything. This is just what works for me. And if you just take one piece of it and you implement it and it makes your life easier, makes your life better, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you guys. And if you're already subscribed to the channel, I appreciate you. We have a lot of new subscribers here from some recent videos, and I'm super stoked to start building like a community here that I can provide value and just chat with you guys. And if you haven't subscribed already, hit that subscribe button. Let's start growing this community. I want to be able to have more time, you know, make YouTube more of a full-time thing so I can make more videos for you guys. So I would really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button. But other than that, I think that really wraps up this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.